be married, you know, if he's still testing the waters everywhere else, you know what I'm saying? So, needless to say, that is a portion. Naysayers, they're going to always be there. We still have them.
Yeah, 20 years later, I'm sure there are people who thought we would never make it. I mean, and there's probably people who still thinking, keep thinking, because we good.
We're good.
Yeah, we good.
We're good. It's all good.
We solid in here. We good.
Okay, and so, with that being said, so the naysayers and things like that.
That was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
So we made it through that hurdle. The kids was a little difficult.
I was about to ask that because, you know, we don't have a blended family, but I will be doing a show probably with some folks that have blended family. But since you guys are here and y'all sharing y'all story, we might as well ask a little bit about the blending, you know. Did it blend together like the deck of cards? You know, when you shuffle in the cards, you go brrr, and they come together and you push it together and it goes so smooth. Did it do like that, or was it?
You know how you blend the cards together and they all fly all over the place?
Yeah.
It went like that.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you're shuffling and somebody really don't know how to shuffle and they the cards, it went like that.
Okay, I got it.
Keep in mind, he only had one child and I had 3.
Okay.
And so he's an active father in our youngest daughter's life, and my 2 youngest children's father was active. He was active.
Absolutely.
And so there was a little bit of a dynamic because both of the girls were daddy's girl. My daughter loved her father, and his daughter loved. That's so weird to say. It's so weird. So it was difficult. It was difficult for them all to mesh together. So I have 2 boys and a girl, and so I think the girls were bigger than the boys, were rougher than the boys initially.
Yes.
Yeah, the girls were a little bit rougher, you know, because, you know, girls are daddy's girls, and trying to go from being the only child and then my daughter being the only girl for them to try and merge that relationship. We made the choice. I think the conversation we had with them was, suck it up. We're not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Figure it out. And that was kind of the stance we had took with everybody. This is what it is. This is how we gonna live our life. Either get in where you fit in or get on. And that was the stand that we took. That's the stand we take pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
So
Nothing's changed.
yeah, so it was not peaches and cream, but we made a conscious effort. And once we made a conscious effort to present a united front, our children had no choice but to line up. There was no, I'm gonna tell my daddy, I'm gonna tell my mama. And they tried that, and we were like, no. We don't do that.
Because kids definitely, I know kids will try it.
Yeah, we just decided that we were going to communicate. So before I made a decision concerning any of the 4 children, I had a conversation with him. So they wouldn't be able to come back and say, my mama said blah, blah, blah. No, we don't do that.
Okay. So that was a portion of getting through that second hurdle. The kids trying to get together. Okay, so at what point, so how can I pose this question? Okay, so after all of these things happened and y'all overcame that, at what point did the infidelity come?
Infidelity.
Because I mean, like, everything was fast tracked, you know.
Was there one particular situation, or was it just something that happened over time?
Something that happened over time, and I think she can elaborate on that, and then I'll chime in.
It was something that happened over time. I think it's important. Let me give this disclaimer here. There wasn't him not paying the bills. I've never had an issue with him bringing his money home. There wasn't him not coming home at night. To be honest, I had no idea he was having an affair, and that's part of the problem. So I took a job taking care of an elderly sick lady. I would go to work at 9 o'clock at night. I would get off at 7 in the morning, and then I would go to work from 7:30 to 3:30 and do substitute cheek tea. I did that for 4 years, Monday through Friday. So I only slept at home in my bed on Saturdays and Sundays. So at the time, his uncle became ill, so he started taking care of his uncle with dementia. He also was a football. He also refereed football and umpired baseball. So in the summer, we always took vacation. We would take a 2-week vacation. We would take road trips. But what he needed from me emotionally, I just wasn't there. And I think that's why it's so important to understand what your spouse's love language is. because I was about the money. I was more in love with the money than I was with being married or even with my husband. I love money because I was like, we gonna get this money. We gonna go to Disney. We gonna do this. He like, I just want you to be at home at night. I'm like, that's cool, bruh, but let's get this money.
So we entered 3 or 4 years, and we're still on the track of where she's working nights, and then during the day she was working for the school district. For me, I was working my day job, and then of course I would go and take care of my uncle in the evening. So we would literally see each other for a 30-minute span as I was getting home, making sure the kids were situated and ready for bed, and getting them prepared for the next morning, because when she would leave her overnight job, she would be going straight to the school district. Me, I would be getting the kids up in the morning, getting them ready for school, and then I would go to work. So our paths never crossed, and they only crossed on the weekend. So what happens is, for men, and I was talking about this Sunday, we are taught to be, not taught, we are told not to express a lot of emotion. So we don't understand the significance or the emotional attachment that you should have with your spouse. So although I was saying to her 3 years later, hey, I need you to stop, right? Subtle, but I'm telling her, we've done this long enough, I need you to come home, right? You got to get this money. We having these 2-week vacations. And we were going, the kids were going, you name it, the kids been there. Disneyland, Disney World, Florida, Tampa, Texas, Ohio, Cedar Point. We were doing road trips, and we was doing them big. But there was a disconnect emotionally that you don't realize is happening because it's so subtle. So the infidelity piece came from just a simple conversation with an individual.
Wow.
It's real subtle, right? And over a period of time, those conversations increase, because now that emotional connection that I wasn't getting at home, don't get me wrong, the physical was there. She come on the weekend when she's home, we getting it in.
Okay.
This is adult TV.
Adult TV.
So from a physical standpoint, there was nothing defiled about us, because we were adults enjoying our marriage. From a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, there was a disconnect that we did not even realize had even happened because it was so subtle. Please.
The emotional piece that he speaks of that I should have needed from my husband, I didn't need because I never had it. So my biological father spent some time in prison. My mom's been married a long time. My bonus dad is amazing. Great guy, was good to me, good to my mom, and loved me. But there was something that I needed from him, that as a child, as a girl child, there are things that are taboo. You can't sit on stepdaddy's lap. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's not appropriate. Not that he was going to do anything to me, just that my mom told me, you don't stand between men's legs, you don't sit on men's lap. And that meant no man, uncle, nobody. And so there was something that I was missing that I didn't know that I needed. So coming from the relationship with my children's father, I worked. I was a breadwinner. I went and I got it. And so that's what I did. And I remember my children's father telling me, he's deceased now, I don't remember at what point it was, me and my husband was together and we were having a conversation, and he said to me, you robbed me of my manhood. And it didn't click until me and my husband was separated. And it was because I was so busy trying to be an independent black woman in a relationship that I forgot my role. My role is never...
marriage.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in a marriage. You're right.
Correction.
Come on now.
And that's something as a wife that you have to be able to accept, because I wasn't in a relationship. I was in a marriage. And so, and I had to view it differently. I couldn't continue to view my marriage with my husband as I had viewed my relationship with my children's father. Okay, go ahead.
So, in reference to how the fidelity piece happens, there's now an emotional void that is being filled by someone else, and that's where the infidelity happens.
So it was smooth. At the same time, you didn't realize that emotional connection. Did you realize it from the very beginning that the emotional connection was happening, or did all of a sudden it was like, dang.
No, initially it was, I thought
You were just
it was just friendly conversation.
yeah.
Because what happened is, she's at work in the evening, and when and I'm gonna let her elaborate. She loves to talk about the emotional orgasm, so I'm gonna let her talk about that real quick. But for me, there was no opportunity to decompress in the evening, and that individual became that way or that outlet.
Somebody to talk to
Bam. There
after
you go.
at the end of the day when you want
Absolutely.
to communicate with
There
your
you go.
husband or your wife or whatever, and they not there, then you know, ooh,
Yes.
I'm telling you, the devil is tricky because when my husband was working nights, let me tell you, I'm telling you, I heard a little something whisper. He said, you know what? He would never know the difference. You can have him in and out before you get home. That's what the devil said. I said, devil, you a lie, okay?
Real lie.
But when you in the beginning, when you frustrated and you are needing that from your spouse or your mate, you know, that is something him and I talked about the other night. And I'm like, you know, I don't think I was ever tempted to cheat, but then he tried it. But I just didn't fall for it. And he even sent some exes along the way. You know, like, what he got to do with me? He got a whole lot to do with you, sir. You know,
That sounds like
and
a
me
crime
too.
waiting to happen.
All I'm saying is, so I totally get it when you said you was looking for a way to decompress, and she wasn't there. And that the enemy just sent somebody right on in there to be your friend.
And that's what I call the emotional orgasm. That's where and you can have that with anybody. It could be your mother, your best friend. You know, that first person when you get in the car, or when something bad happens, you be like, girl. Or when something good happens, you be like, you ain't gonna believe it. That's what I call the emotional orgasm. Because what happens is when you have that release with somebody. So if I talk to my best friend on the way home before I get home with my husband, when I get home and he says how was work, I'm like, good. Because I don't have nothing to tell him. I've already released everything I need to release, whether it was good or bad. How was work? Good. What happened today? Nothing. Like, you've been gone for 8 hours and nothing has happened. You know what I'm saying? And people don't recognize that that's a sign. I've been gone for 8 hours and ain't nothing happened. What happened today? Nothing. Nothing. You didn't talk to nobody. Like, nothing happened. So, yeah, I'm done with it.
Emotional orgasm. That's a good one, girl.
Because there's a sense of relief that you get. You know what I'm saying? No matter who it is, when you get in that car and you be like, oh my God, or you run to the bathroom and be like, you can't believe what happened. There's a sense of you don't have to share it with anybody else because you